if you want to write an email, people turn to ChatGPT before they start
Yeah.
drafting. Yeah.
Why AI is ruining your life.
Why AI will never replace
Your dad.
it's it could though.
It might actually.
Have you tried?
I don't know. I'm gonna work at it tonight.
Oh, I
I'll
don't.
find the right prompt.
Can you ask me how I'm feeling
How are you
and how
feeling?
my race? No, that's what? That's what you would ask ChatGPT. You don't even know how to talk to the dad.
I don't know how to talk to a
Dad
dad.
GBT. It's okay. It's all right.
Uh,
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Between Two Coaches. We're on a mission to make fitness more human, which is very in line with our topic today.
yeah.
Snark sold separately. I'm Coach Amanda, and I'm joined as always by my co hosts.
Coach, it's a Coach Nick. Yep. And so thank you so much for joining us. We love having you here a lot, and we have a great episode. Amanda and I, just us two pals, are going to talk about the role of AI in the world of fitness and endurance and coaching and all the things, because AI and other tools are sort of taken over, right? And they are, in fact, not human like me and you are, right? So we've learned that. In my research, I learned how I'm human and they are not. So we learned a lot of stuff and we're going to bring it all to you guys.
We sure are. But before we dive into the artificial, let's bring us to reality. Coach Nick, congratulations. A big mazel on your Buffalo half marathon experience this weekend. You were pacing our friend Coach Chrissy over on Relentless Runners.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was fabulous. It was a fun weekend. I stayed with former guest and fan of the podcast, Stevie Lynn Smith. And, I had talked with her. I always wanted to go to Buffalo. Don't know why. Just I want to visit new places and run new races. And so Buffalo came to mind. And Stevie was like, come on up. And so I did. And it's a nice, easy flight. Got up there, very cool weather for a late May experience. 40s, 50s, a little bit. The race weather on Sunday morning was about 40 degrees at the start, zero wind, even some sun. You literally couldn't ask for more or better weather. So I had a super fun weekend. I got to meet a lot of Stevie's friends from Pace Buffalo and from Buffalo Run Club, and some of her triathlon friends came out. That was a fun experience. The race went really well. I felt a million times better than Boston. Don't know what happened, why I felt so poor at Boston as the race went on, but felt really good here. We ran a nice 1:36, which was a 3-minute PR for Chrissy. I felt very comfortable, very smooth the whole time. So that was a lot of fun. So, yeah, excited about that and building off of that and chasing my own goals. But just a super fun weekend. I learned that Amanda went to school up there. Stevie pointed out the school that A Cats went to. So that was fun. I got wings because you can't go to Buffalo without getting buffalo wings.
Where did you get wings?
Gosh, I put it in my
She
story.
doesn't
Bar
remember.
Bill. No, this is important. It's where I can find it real. It is Bar Bill North.
Okay. So Stevie took you to like the local spots, like the spots that the people visit. I love that.
Yeah, that was a recommended spot. I also went to a place called Ballyhoo,
Yes.
which was a pretty popular, fun spot. So that was we did some stuff post race to celebrate all of Pace Buffalo's races, and then we end up there for a bunch of hours. So that was a fun experience. But all in all, it was fun.
Did you go to Wegmans or
We never made it to Wegmans. It was on our list, and we did not blame Stevie for that because she was a little bit tired on Monday for various reasons.
Okay, well, Stevie, congratulations on your marathon,
When she
but
ran a PR, she
I
ran a
have a
2 minute
grievance.
PR. Yeah.
Nice job. Nice job, Stevie. I still have a grievance against you because Coach Nick did not get to visit the burrito bar
And
at
that
Wegmans.
is bad because I don't know if I'll go back to Buffalo. It was good enough
No,
for
I
one
know.
visit,
I know what you mean by that. I know.
but might not have a second. But I did enjoy it. I definitely recommend the race for a May race. I know it sometimes they had said it is hot, but you can't go wrong with a race up in the north, by the great north before in May with weather. It can usually be ideal, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm very happy for all of you.
Thanks. I got back today, and then I said we're gonna do a podcast because this we got to bring the people the information. So there's no quit for me. I'm off a plane, and I am ready to.
And go we will. I also wanted to give you kudos on such a wonderful interview that you had on the Golden Hour Adventures podcast. I got to watch that yesterday on
Thank you.
YouTube. It was fantastic.
Thanks. It was a lot of fun. Uh, the brother podcast over there, so it was fun to be a part of it and to share some of my journey and just the fun of running.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm here for it.
But Amanda, how about you? What do you have to share? I know we have a lot of things you want to get to about your life from the week. So where do you want to start?
Coach Nick is playing with fire and he's
There's
about to
a
get burned. He's about to get burned. I black out from week to week as a way to cope. I think that I restarted. I took some time off from the half after the half marathon, started to run again, have the most insane delayed onset muscle soreness from some single leg deadlifts. Just one glute, just one glute. So, I'm gonna have this is about as personal as I will get. I'm gonna have my acupuncturist just put needles in my butt,
yeah.
and that's how we're gonna get through. But otherwise, I had a good week. I had a
Hey.
really positive, something that I'm happy to. I'm figuring out a way to communicate it better. It's something I've been working on with my personal health, but that I think is really critically important for the active population and especially women to address in my own health journey. I had some really great news, really great results from a test that I took, and I kind of made myself the guinea pig on this health journey these last couple of years. So I feel more equipped to talk about the professionals that helped me get to this, for lack of a better categorization, the ultimate before and after a transformation for me in my health journey. So um, it is something that I want to share probably more on the Patreon, maybe on the podcast. I'll talk through with Coach Nick, but I'm super, super grateful that I advocated for myself and that I'm in a better place and I'm much stronger because of it.
Well, we love that. We love when people advocate for themselves. We love some good news.
We do.
So thanks for sharing all that, Amanda. The inside joke is that Amanda, we have a real life section in our note, and Amanda never puts anything about only my stuff in there, never hers. So every time on the podcast, when I say something like she has a lot to share, she has nothing she actually wants to share. So I catch her off.
Yeah, every time, every single time. That is the joke that won't die,
Yeah, we will not, but I'll keep it live forever.
and I
But
wish it would. Yeah.
that sounded like a great week. We
Yes.
love hearing about it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So today we wanted to talk about. I think Coach Nick and I have spoke about this definitely on our social media and with other professionals in the space, but we wanted to talk about AI and why, it's challenging for us as fitness professionals and as run coaches because we see so many of our members of the fitness community and the running community participate in these AI apps and also just with the uptick in ChatGPT, it's presented a lot of challenges that we've seen professionally. And the one thing that we know is that AI cannot replace the human side of coaching, which is ultimately what you and I talk about. That's at the core of our values. So I think that we got to talk about what AI is.
Yeah, we do. Artificial intelligence for all you following along home. So AI has been around a long time. And, I think there were a lot of jokes in earlier models of ChatGPT or just AI created videos that, couldn't get people's fingers right. Always 6 toes, 6 fingers, all that stuff, right? AI's come a long way, right? And it is completely unregulated in the world of technology, which is a dangerous thing. And I'm not attacking, we're not going after that here. But, this is why you see videos of anyone you want with no stopping it, right? And so half the time you don't even know if we're watching a video online if it was real or not, because the first question you always have to ask is this AI or is this real? Because it's getting better when it comes to what AI does, right? AI is about creating something and it's about a destination, right? You tell ChatGPT, you tell something what you want and it gets you to that destination, right? It's not about the journey. It's not about anything else along the struggles, anything. It is just, I am going to get you that destination. That's all I know how to do. I don't understand anything else about, let's talk about endurance athlete, about the complexness of a human being or anything. It just is going to get there. And so on the other side is it only knows what you input it, right? What you prompt it, what you ask it. So if you want to tell it that your goals are some big goal and you can train at this high level and it's going to push you to that, right? It's not going to understand the complex human being that you are. It's just a machine, right? And it's going to say, well, machine knows how to do this. Here you go. Here's your machine. You be a machine too and go do this, right? And at the end of the day, AI is just this tool that's creating and getting you the input, the output from the input you give it and the input that you ask, right? And so that's all it's doing, right? And so whether we use it for, proofreading our emails or writing an email or, how to break up with a girlfriend or whatever we need, right? Uh, it can obviously do it, and sometimes it can do it better than we can, but it's not replacing a human being, right? And a lot of times we know what is real and what is not.
Even outside of fitness, really, Coach Nick, I think you're the same way. Yeah, I would definitely say we're the same way. We're two people who love writing. And something that I've seen popularized since ChatGPT has become more prominent is are people leaning too heavily on it to write for them, right? Or it's taking the brain and the feelings and the authenticity out of the verbiage. And so when I think about how AI works with fitness and running, it's taking it's doing the same thing, right? It's taking the person out of the experience. So if we think about like one, as we said, AI is not new. There are many fitness apps that have had AI in them in order to, in order for a lot of fitness professionals to scale their business, right? Because it's making their job easier because they don't have to invest in the client. Like it has predictable language that it uses. But there comes a point, right, where it does not work. So let's use a very popular app right now. Let's use Runna, an app that many, here are the pros of an app based training plan, right? They tend to be more financially accessible. They are easy to use. They're a plan that ideally anyone can follow. And I think that that's where it kind of ends. That because anyone can follow a plan, and most people they're not run coaches or personal trainers, they don't have that background signing up for these AI apps, number one. it's really challenging for the consumer to understand, like, is this too much? Is this too little? Is this enough to get me to my end goal? Whether that is a 5K or a marathon. And the biggest issue is that they are promoting themselves as coaches, and they're not. So much so that in the app, like when you are, because I've played in it, in the app where there is a workout any given day, something like Rana will have comments from coaches making you feel like they are talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not. They're the same comments that your friend is getting for that workout. So that's a huge issue, because it is, the human element is being removed. Cannot The biggest benefits that you get from hiring a coach, I mean, the benefits of hiring a coach have very little actually to do with the plan itself.
Yep. Yeah, I take exception when it calls it's like any of these things call it your coach, right? It calls it a coaching app. Like Rana says, I think it says your coaching app, your coach. It's not, right? And this is the first problem, right? Like you providing a training plan is not providing coaching, right? So if that's what I don't want the public to think that's what coaching is, right? And so I think we we can watch. But
No, or I want to just make a little asterisk, because you and I have both worked with clients and athletes who that was actually what their coach was like. That's not an appropriate coaching experience. You should not just be getting a plan and sayonara. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a poor coaching experience. Just like any other profession, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, there are great ones and there are not great ones. Okay,
yeah.
continue.
And there's no secret, like every coach will tell you there's no secret workout. Like if some coach knew the secrets that all the rest of us didn't know, then they would coach all the best athletes in the world and everyone would run PRs and they'd be winning every single event. And that doesn't happen in this sport. Like we see it all the time, like in endurance in the Olympics and marathons, different coaches, like, different. So there is no perfect training plan. There is no perfect workout, right? And so coaching matters, right? And this is it can I think sometimes we think we don't need a coach or that it could have no impact on us. And we're so wrong, right? Like look at any professional sport, there's a coach there. And those coaches, when they win a lot, it's because they know what they're doing and they know how to get the best out of their athletes. Like football, basketball, like everyone knows how to run plays, everyone knows how to design and get them and get ready for a game. Well, the best coaches are getting the most out of their players in the moments they need to. That's what a coach is doing, right? And so an AI app cannot do that. It is a robot, it is a machine, right? That said, entry level for a lot of new runners, again, we all have price points so we can afford. So app like this can absolutely help you get that level of support, get a plan. The things you're losing from an AI generated plan is you don't know how to adapt, right? I hear lots of people tell me, well, I used Runup, I just adapted it all the time. Well, then you're not, then you're kind of going rogue, right? And do you even know if you're doing the right thing, or like, if you're adapting it too much, not enough? Like, so you're now just paying for something to do something for you, and then you're just changing it anyway. Like at that point, like, is the app serving you best, or is it just causing more problems? I don't know. If you really feel like it's too much, that's a problem, right? And I think these apps allow you to just set whatever level you want. I'll be like Olympic caliber athlete. I want to run 7-minute PR in the 5K. Go. I think it'll throw you there. It'll throw you the workouts, but like, is that right for you as you want to progress? Where's the feedback? Where's the support? Where's any of that, right? And so AI and fitness apps, like, they're not coaches, they're templates. So let's start there. It is a template that can adapt, right? So you used to get templates you could buy on a web page, a piece of paper with some, and they would provide some information with them. Hey, here's what you do, here's the days, here's how you run, and you'd have this little like Word document with it, the better templates. And so you would have some idea, have some understanding, and you would have this template. And now the next level up is, well, AI can do it. So we're going to throw in this algorithm and we're going to give you a template, and it's going to adapt when you tell us, you don't like this workout, or whatever you ran in this workout, right? And it's just going to change it, right? But it's taking in data. Again, it's just taking in your data, right? Your heart rate data can be wrong. It can take in anything, and then it's going to push you further and further. And it doesn't understand anything else that's going on in your life other than your running data and anything else you push in it. But you can adapt it, but then you're just coaching yourself, right? So where's the line of like AI is coaching you, you're coaching yourself, and what you're getting out of it?
A big part of this that we have to figure out, or we have to be honest about, is how much an individual invests in their health. And I talk about this a lot because, one, I work at arguably one of the most expensive luxury gyms in the world. Like, that's as a group fitness instructor, I teach there. And so there's a conversation, and what will happen every year is that, just like everything else, the rate goes up. And so the conversation that you hear is, at what point does one not pay for the cost when it comes to their health? And my argument has always been that there's nothing more important than making sure that you are physically and mentally well. So if you can afford, which it is a financial, there's no question that running needs to be more accessible, and it needs to come at a more people. In order for more people to be in the sport, it needs to be accessible, and for them to have longevity, it needs to be accessible. However, the amount of money that I know people are investing in other things, and they could be investing in their physical health, whether that's a personal trainer, a run coach, a physical therapist, a sports dietitian. We spoke about Stevie before, a mental health professional. If we allocated some of that into these professionals that can actually keep us healthy and moving and well, and ultimately having someone in a professional in our corner, we would all be better off. I know that there are, just like the running company that you and I work for, that Coach Nick is the head coach of, Running Explained. There we have price points that are more accessible, and this is not to sell us as individual coaches. I'm talking about things like the Run Club app, etc. It's more accessible for you to have access to a plan, but you also have access to, I believe Elizabeth places this in, you have an opportunity to, if you want, to have these one-off consultations and these opportunities to speak to a coach
And learn.
and learn with the plan. And so there's also like a middle. So and I think that that's lost in this conversation, that it doesn't have to be all or nothing, and there could be different seasons of your life where you utilize both.
Yeah. I was just going to say, when we're talking about coaching, right? So like you can go back to we had a nice series last year, What is Coaching? We had a great episode on with Mario Fraioli about what is coaching. You can go back and hear all about what coaching is to us and like what it provides, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, what you do experience with a coach is you learn, right? You learn things, you learn tools, you learn problem solving, you learn understanding, and your coach, if they're willing to share, and most, I'd hope almost all are, because it's literally our job, we almost want to make ourselves obsolete at some point because we're giving you the information needed. If my athlete ever comes and says, oh, I figure I can do this myself and I'm excited, I'm ecstatic, I want them to learn, I want them to be able to, right? And that's the information we're giving. With these AI apps, you're not learning anything. You're just, here's a workout, it's really hard. You don't really know when to use it, how to use it. You don't even know if you really should be doing it right now, and you just do it, and you're not really, there's no sharing information. It is just a template that just kind of pushes you really hard. And the other part is when you talk about investments in yourself, like, there's a lot of people who come from some of these tools injured, right? And injuries
Mm-hmm.
cost a lot of money, right? Like, that's not anyone can get injured at any time, right? It's like, I could walk off the front step and turn my ankle, right? So that's not to say that injuries, a coach will make sure you never get injured. Overuse injuries, a lot of them can be avoided, right? If information is provided on how much you're running and how much you're exercising and cross training, and then the coach can account for that and adapt, we can usually do a good job of helping prevent overuse injuries. These tools cannot, right? They don't know, and you don't know you're overdoing it because literally you're hiring a machine to tell you what to do. So you have no clue on your limit. And like, then what's the cost to you when you have to go to a PT, when you miss running, when you have to buy recovery tools or other things, or spend a lot of money to get yourself healthy? That's hard. Or the impact on your life, like a bone stress injury, sure, air quotes, will heal. We don't know how it will heal. It doesn't always heal perfectly. Does it impact your life? Absolutely. Maybe your job requires you to be on your feet. That's not great. So there's a lot going on here with all this. And the last part is, yes, this is called Between Two Coaches. We are coaches. I think there's a big problem in social media everywhere, and I see it all the time, where if a coach speaks out against an AI app like Runna, it is met with a lot of anger and a lot of people instantly in those comments finding it, telling you how Runna is perfect, it's great, it does its job. A lot of people a lot of influencers, a lot of runners in general, all of codes in their
Mm-hmm.
bios. There's a lot of investment from them for you to use Runna, whether they think it's great or not, whether they even use it, you have no clue, but they want you to use it, right? And so if you see anywhere in social media, if people say anything negative about it, the comments come real fast. It's always a red flag to me. If anything is that fragile
Mm-hmm.
with the community, it tells me there's something wrong, right? If people have to defend something so much,
Mm-hmm.
that every time there's some negative connotation about it, that the people are finding it and they're telling you, no, no, it's great, you're wrong. Why do you have a problem with it? It tells me something's underneath there that needs to be addressed, right? And so coaches all the time get shit. Some coaches are told, oh, you're not a great coach. This coaching group doesn't work. There's no perfect coaching company. They all take heat. Runna doesn't. Some of these other apps don't. So I just want to put out there, right? Like, anything that is constantly put on a pedestal and defended like that, there's something more to it, right? That's just how I always look at it. I take abuse. Runners, coaches take abuse all the time about how we are, and none of us are perfect. We never
No,
we never claim to be, and we make mistakes. We're human beings. So anyway, just wanted to put that little piece out there about all this.
that's really important. That's really, really important. I think about it's the same. The red flag never turns green. It never does. And you can look at that across certain supplements that people push. Hey, it's influencer marketing is something that we've spoken about on this podcast and how it can backfire. There are many influencer marketing campaigns out there, many of which, or not many of which, a handful of which I participate in. Coach Nick and I support certain crank sports, for example, but not every person behind the product that they're promoting or the service they're promoting is in it for the right reasons. They want to collect their coin. Okay. And this company, a company like Runna or any other big company that has influencer marketing as their main bread and butter is going to make sure that the person who is pushing out these codes has influence, and there's not everyone has ethics. We saw that with Advil.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had coaches. We are coaches. We understand the benefit of it. I'm not trying to speak here about. It's not even about like hire me, hire Amanda. It's coaches are beneficial and they help
Mm-hmm.
and they can do good things. And let's go on to like some of the bigger issues, right? That AI has, which is like it takes away the ability to problem solve, right? Because again, your AI is telling you how to get to the destination. We always talk about life's about the journey, running's about the journey.
Mm-hmm.
AI is not caring about your damn journey. AI is caring about getting you to the destination, and that's all it knows. So there's no investment from it. There's no part of your journey. There's no nothing. It is just some machine telling you here's the destination, right? You can't learn any skills, right? When things don't go according to the plan. Like, how are you adapting? What are you doing? Like, you can tell it I need to miss a day. You can tell it things need to move around, but it doesn't know, right? It doesn't know how to do that stuff. It does not
Hmm.
understand complex human beings and the complex feelings and emotions that go in and the stresses, right? It can't. And if it's just using heart rate data, sure, it can capture tiny bits of it sometimes, but heart rate data does not tell you everything. HRV does not tell you everything. Sleep score does not tell you everything, despite what my reel is doing right now on the internet about all these scores. But that said, like, it can't replace that stuff. A human interaction, a human understanding is what helps you adapt, right? And so, I think these are important things of like what is an issue and what is AI's biggest limitations.
Hmm. I think it's also important to note that some of these apps they'll try to convince you that it can adapt, right? So it'll have features that say you can add travel time in, you can add your vacation in. And as the human on the other side of that app, you feel some sense of relief that it is quote unquote taking into account the time off from your training, whatever that training is. You trust the app, right? But as somebody who has played in these apps as a professional who understands how to program to a human, it is riddled with error. And I've tried it in multiple ways. Oh, let me see what happens if I plug in on my 6th week of my build, a trip. Let me see what happens if I say that I'm injured in this. You're just blindly trusting this app. You don't have the coach in your corner that you need to really adapt to the complex adults that Nick was referring to. So I just want to point out that there are many apps that will share that that feature does exist. It's quote unquote adaptable, but it is always to a point.
Yeah.
Always to a point.
And, I think the other part is, when we think of these types of tools, we're thinking of, when we talk about the destination, all these AI apps are trying to do is get you the time, right? They're going to push you as hard as they can to get you whatever time you want because that's how the app feels like it provides its value, right? If you run a time, you did it. As coaches, we know that's not the most important thing, right? Like, yes, we are pushing you towards your biggest goals, but it is the person you're becoming along the way. And I know lots of people will hear that and go, I don't care about that. I just want to run fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm promising you that you want everything. You want that and you want to run fast and you need both.
Mm-hmm.
And that when you finally have that, realization that, like, yes, the person I'm becoming is how I am on this journey and how I am growing and how I'm getting better, and by having people in my corner and coaches who understand is helping me get there versus me just running a time because something told me to, or a coach giving trial by fire coaching or whatever it is, right? Like, just to get a result that can only last so long. We all hit a barrier in our training where we need more than just harder training, harder training, harder training. And you will see it in everyone who shares their journey a lot on social media as they just try and push harder and harder and harder. They hit that wall. Whether their body breaks down physically or mentally, they do because they are not growing as a person and they are not having that supportive growth who are learning the skills needed to overcome their biggest barriers. I have been through this sport from a slower runner to a faster runner, and when I have needed to break through barriers, it is the people in my corner, the skills that I've
Mm-hmm.
learned have got me through the barriers, not harder and faster workouts. My workouts got slower when I ran
Right.
my 2:30 marathon. Like, they not slower, I was just doing more of them and
Yeah.
doing more of them and feeling better. But when I was hammering out workouts, thinking this is the answer, I was not reaching the goals. I was not reaching the times my workouts were predicting. So all is to say is when a tool is designed to get you to the destination, that works until it doesn't. And without everything else needed to reach that, and this is what coaches provide, you will struggle at some point. So, yes, the journey is important. The skills needed to problem solve are important. And these are the things that coaches and anything else can provide that a machine cannot.
Yes. I love all of that. And I was just sitting here shaking my head because your maturity as a runner and as a fitness enthusiast, you find is actually, as you mature, you find that you don't need to do too much. That in fact that you probably were, which is why you were so fatigued, and the success that you wanted to see wasn't coming because you were working hard in the wrong places. And I think that apps like Runna, and I've also, again, like, it's not just running apps. I've seen this also in some strength training AI apps as well. It reaches a point you feel exhausted, but you're not performing. So even if you are somebody who doesn't find value in a finishing time, which is, for me at least, a lot of the athletes I work with are not, yes, that may be a goal at some point in their lives, but a lot of them just want to feel strong throughout a training cycle, show up for the first time in years injury free, things like that. Like, these are, they want to be lifelong runners, et cetera, et cetera. This is where a coach is critical because we can help you navigate week to week, workout to workout, session to session, how you feel, what went well, what didn't go well, where the gaps are, problem solving, fueling, and sleep and outside stress, things that the app cannot take into account that we know impacts the human body going way beyond the plan.
Yeah, and again, I hear this a lot. When I say to people like training templates and Run and other AI apps are like a starting point, and they can be a good starting point if you have some basic understanding. If you have more tools and knowledge, yeah, you can actually kind of push back against the app and know what you're doing, and that's helpful. But when I say this a lot, I get a lot of pushback from people of like, well, it can be forever. Some of us don't have a ton of money to spend on coaching. I acknowledge that. I know there is a gap. There is something that's needed between a one-on-one coach, which feels like for a lot of people a big investment to seek out someone and like invest themselves. Because to really have a coach, yes, you need to invest yourselves and trust them. And it's sometimes for whatever reason COVID broke our brains or whatever happened, we're more willing to invest and put ourselves into an app and give machines our vulnerability than we are with a human being. That's got it. This is what's happening. That means that a lot of people don't want the commitment or the price tag that comes with one-on-one coaching. So I acknowledge there needs to be a level of coaching because I think everyone
Yes.
deserves it. Just like I think therapy, everyone should have therapy, and insurance can help a lot of people get there, or you can find your own on the side or other means, right? Everyone should have a coach. It would be super helpful. And I think there needs to be an avenue. Running Explained has a couple things that can help, like coach consults and coach created plans with some involvement from a coach. But I think there is a level that exists where a coach is involved and you're not just left to a machine to
Yep.
run your life. Because I think a lot of people would benefit from some information back and forth. But again, coaches are knowledgeable people, and we are here to help learn and grow. There's enough runners for all of us to go around. We're not fighting with each other. We're not fighting the apps even, because honestly a lot of people come from these apps and they're hurt and broken, and that sucks because I don't want to see runners ran to the ground or pushed too far. I want to see them loving the sport, chasing their dreams, and understanding that it takes a little bit of time. Everyone has a different timeline. And once they make it through, this is joyful and it's fun and you're chasing your goals. And that's wonderful. And I want someone to have that support that I was blessed to have as an athlete in high school and college with a coach there in my journey.
Yes, I agree. There is, and we spoke about it before. I know I've been on Stephanie Diaz's podcast. We've spoken about making running a more accessible sport. Making fitness more accessible in general is something that we've spoken about many times. So this is not we acknowledge that price is huge. But I also like just want us to recognize that I don't think there's anything more important than an investment in your health. And that I would argue that if you have the means and you look at where you're allocating your coin and your budget, and there are some areas that are, you know, that you could be allocating into taking care of your health better, then you need to have that honest conversation with yourself, because this is ultimately about your health. You either pay now or you pay later in some way.
Yeah. And I mean, and like you're investing in yourself and your knowledge and your life skills, because what I've learned about a runner is I've grown as a human being because of running, because of the skills I've learned out there, running in front of people and chasing my goals and putting myself out there, and all the things that have come because I've become a runner have helped me become better in my life. I remember when I quit my job, a lot of people told me memories they had with me of was like being a leader and being someone like they could turn to when they needed stuff. And I thought of like running and how like that's what I did a lot, is either a coach or just an athlete, and how much similarity existed in my job, even though my job had literally nothing to do about running and no one in the whole office ran and everyone was confused why I was running and the length of my shorts. But that aside, the skills that I learned from running were showing up in my job and showing up in how I'm a dad and a mom. I'm sorry, not a mom, a dad and a husband and friend, all that stuff. So like you are learning these skills and they're valuable. The coaches I have in my life are a lot of the reasons why I've grown so much.
We all benefit from coaches in general, and the skills that you learn, like Nick said, they go far beyond you being on the run. They make you a better you, and I don't think there's anything more important than investing in that.
Yeah, that's the best thing when I see on social media, when I see people who start running and then have that journey where they get to the point where they're like their life is better because of running, and they see that's what I love to see, because everyone
Hmm.
will get there. Some people struggle and they don't want to make that connection. They don't see how it matters and they see that it's just a clock and fast times and all that other stuff. But everyone eventually who sticks around long enough gets to that point and sees that, and like this is, so you're investing in yourself with what the tools and the people you put in your supportive corner and what you do, so that matters. So make the right investment and you will learn a lot, you will grow a lot of my athletes have moved on and they're handling their own training now, and that's fantastic. I'm so happy for that. That's my goal, right, to make them feel that they got all the support they need in their life and that they grew and got smarter.
Hmm. Hmm. And I think that the other part that you mentioned earlier, even if you find that you are somebody who, because Nick and I both have folks who have been with us since we've started as coaches, the goal is for them to feel empowered to make smart choices for themselves on the fly when we are not in their pocket. So there are times that they are, they're at their race, or they wake up early one morning, or they're on vacation and they're like, you know, this is what Nick would tell me to do in this moment. And that's what I'm going to do. And oftentimes it is not the decision they would have come to on their own. And it's not because Nick is smarter than anyone, because he's not. I am.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I know.
Nick was so invested in the emotional roller coaster I was bringing us on. No, it's not because we're more intelligent. It's because we're able to look at you as this complex human, and we're able to give you grace when you cannot do it yourself. And we're able to push you when you are having a challenging time finding the confidence, and we can pull you back when you're doing a little too much. So that's our role, and that's what we've as coaches continue to perfect over time by working with many different humans.
Yeah. No notes. Perfect. I love athletes all the time say they heard my voice and that's how they adapted. So I mean that's the reason we're here, right? That's what we're doing. So no notes. Love this. I think this is an important topic. Again, we're not shitting on anything here in particular. We're just kind of laying out why we're a podcast called Between Two Coaches, and we're talking about coaching and we're just relating our experience, feelings around this, and what we think matters to you as athletes.
I know that's right. So we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. Thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Want you to know that the Patreon is alive and well, and we will continue to pour content into the Patreon. So as it grows, come on down. The weather is snarky. The
It
weather is
is.
definitely it's snarky. But once again, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If I didn't say it before, I'm saying it now. And you can reach out to us at any time between twocoaches@gmail.com. You can reach out to Coach Nick or myself on our Instagrams. And we will see you next time, friends.
Bye.